Hi everybody, welcome to From Shambles to Shambhala, down on the beautiful west coast ocean here. It is June 23rd, the eve of Midsummer, and we are having a busy time, lots going on, so we just wanted to put out a brief talk about this particular time of year, and Zia will be back with us next time. So June 24th is Midsummer Day. It's the midpoint between the seeding and the planting and the harvest, and it is also in Canada Saint Baptiste Day, the day that John the Baptist is revered. And there's an interesting little story that goes along with John the Baptist and Jesus. Some of the esoteric traditions revered John the Baptist just as much as Jesus, and that caused them some problems in their history. And the reason for that was that John the Baptist had the job of baptizing Jesus. He was related, bloodline relatives, cousins, and John the Baptist was born exactly 6 months before Jesus and became the prophet prophesying that Jesus was on his way. And when it came to Jesus beginning his ministry, he was at the River Jordan with John the Baptist, and he asked John the Baptist to baptize him. And John the Baptist said, "I'm not worthy to wash your feet, let alone baptize you." But the point was, and Jesus made this point to John, that he had to do it. It was his job. It was why he was here. And so John the Baptist agrees to do the baptism in the River Jordan, where Jesus gets completely dunked under the surface of the water. And John the Baptist's job was to connect literally heaven to earth. It was to take the energies from Father Sky, connect it through the water element into the person. And for witnesses who saw this actually at the time in the more esoteric teachings, as Jesus walked out of the River Jordan, saw this incredible, brilliant violet flame coming out of his back as he walked out of the water. So John the Baptist had this very important role to do. He lived in the wilderness on his own, and his only job was to talk about the arrival of Jesus and to baptize the people, and hence his importance. Now, why this is really fascinating for me is we're right on this time of the birth of John the Baptist, 6 months before Jesus, June 24th. And that got us to thinking about the gene keys and the fact that because they're exactly 6 months apart, they would have the astrologically opposite sign, or in the gene keys, the programming partners, which are the 10 and the 15. And so John the Baptist was born under the 15th gene key, Jesus born under the 10th gene key of the sort of Christmas Eve, December 24th, and June 24th, Midsummer. So they are like a reflection of each other. And why this is really interesting is that we've just gone through the Capricorn Cancer eclipse season starting in 2019. The last one was this last solar eclipse in Cancer. So what we're actually being asked to do right now is to look back over the last 6 months when we had the last full moon in Capricorn, to see what's happened over this 6-month period, and to make an assessment right now from what's happened over this last 6 months to look forward the next 6 months. In other words, the prophecy that John the Baptist was bringing for the arrival of Jesus, we can now incorporate into our life and say, what is my intention for this next 6-month period? What is it that I want to accomplish in my life and in my life? Because what I was going to say, all the work that we've been doing is leading us to have the intention to embody as much light as possible. There's this very powerful light frequency coming in, a very pure light frequency coming into the earth at this time. And our role as human beings is to absorb as much of this light as we can to activate our DNA and take it up to the next level of existence for us to be able to incorporate this into our daily lives. The other thing I just wanted to mention was we have this very interesting time also in Canada and the US, where July the 1st is Canada Day and July the 4th is American Independence Day. So although they're only 3 days apart, they both exist under different gene keys. So they're both obviously Canadian and American countries are Cancer related through the sign of Cancer, July 1st and July 4th. But between the two dates, there's a shift in gene keys. So Canada was born under the 52nd gene key, the shadow of which is stress, and the city of which is stillness. So as a nation then, Canada wants to step out of stress and into stillness. And after we complete the 52nd gene key, we move into the 39th gene key, which is the US life's work of provocation in the shadow and liberation in the city. In other words, the country of America is here to provoke people awake, to wake people up on a global scale, which is what we're seeing taking place in the world right now. And so the final step in that is liberation. And it's interesting that the Statue of Liberty is the female goddess that reflects the liberation of the country. And so really interesting to look at the two different countries and see how they operate in the world and their respective gene keys. And I'm really hoping that we can step out of stress into stillness and out of provocation and into liberation during this 6-month period. The energies are very powerful, very chaotic in the world right now, so I really want to invite you to stay calm, stay grounded, try not to get too engaged in all of the information that's coming out. It's a very chaotic, difficult time to understand what's really true, what's really in integrity and what's genuine. So I really suggest that we follow our own inner guidance, our own inner authority, our own inner knowing, and spend as much time out in nature as we can, as I am right now, hearing the waves crashing in and in the beautiful sunshine, the beautiful blue waters of the Pacific Ocean, and just try to slow down and spend time outdoors. Final point to make is that right now the sun still going through the solstice, Jupiter turning retrograde, Mercury turning forward. These three planets are all standing still right now. So this is a time to go within and be still and quiet and slow down and not try to make anything happen, because it's going to be like sticky glue. It's going to be very hard to move forward at this time with these three planets all stationary. So I wish you well. I hope you're having a great summer, spending as much time outdoors as you possibly can. And we'll look forward to our Shambles to Shambhala with Zia next month.